Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about keywords and identifiers. So let's start with keywords. Keywords are reserved words in C compiler. Now what do I mean by reserved words? So all of those words which are whose use cases are fixed, which means you cannot use those words other than their predefined use case. Let's say the word int. Okay, so this word int in C programming language, this word int, the meaning of this word int is fixed, which is to represent integer values or integer data, right? So the word int is fixed for representing integer values. So you cannot use word int for any other purpose. Okay. So now the word int is reserved. So all of these words whose use cases are fixed or predefined in C programming language, we call those words keywords. There are different words like int. Um, we have main. Okay, so this the word main which we use to refer the our main function. The word return. So all of these words are keywords because their use cases are fixed. They are predefined words in our C program. You cannot use this word for any other purpose. Okay, so I'm writing here keywords are reserved words in C programming language. So here I have all of the keywords in C programming language. You can see that there we have auto, break, case. We are going to learn about these keywords later, but these are all of the keywords which are defined in our C programming language. So in total, there are 32 keywords. Okay. Now we are going to talk about identifiers. So identifiers are name given to refer entities like functions, variables, or structures, and there are many other entities. Uh, Basically, you can say identifiers are name, okay, and it is decided by the programmers. So, programmer will decide a name to refer variables, functions, or structures. Let me write it down here. Identifiers are names. So yeah, names, identifiers are names which are used to refer entities like functions, variables, structures, and there are many more entities in C programming language. You don't need to worry about what are functions, variables, and structures are. You just need to understand that identifiers are names given to refer these entities. Now we have certain naming convention which are defined in C program, which means that there are certain rules defined in C program for uh, creating identifiers. But before going into the rules, let us try to see some examples. Let us see some examples of identifiers. Okay, so let's say I am declaring a variable. You don't need to worry about what declaration of variable is. Let's say I'm declaring a variable of data type integer, and now I'm going to name that variable. Let's say ball, and then a semicolon. So int is our data type. So what kind of data our variable is going to hold, and the ball here is an identifier. Okay. We'll see how to define a variable, how to initialize a variable. We'll understand these terms, but for now, just for this video only, try to understand that identifiers are name. Okay, these are only names which are which is used to refer functions, variables, and structures. And there are other entities like enums as well. We'll see what those entities are. All right, let's talk about rules of creating identifiers. I have written some rules here for naming identifiers. The first rule, let's start with the first rule. The first rule says that the first letter should be either a letter or an underscore. Okay, so what do I mean by either a letter? So letter could be both your uppercase letter or a lowercase letter from A to Z. Okay, so the first rule states that, okay, so whenever you are naming an identifier, the first letter of that identifier can be either an underscore or an uppercase or a lowercase letter. Okay, so this is the first rule. Now the second rule states that after the first letter, you can have any combination of uppercase and lowercase letters, digits, which is from 0 to 9, and underscores, right? So you need to keep these two rules in your mind, that the first letter of the identifier should be either an underscore, either an underscore or a letter. And after the first letter of the identifier, you can have any combination of letters, digits, and underscore, and letters including both uppercase and lowercase. Okay. There is one more thing, which is we cannot use keywords because keywords have fixed use cases. You cannot use keywords for naming identifiers. This is not allowed. Okay. You cannot use keywords anywhere. That's the reason why we call it reserved words. Alright, so these three are the basic rules for naming identifiers. Keep these three rules in your mind whenever you are naming either a variable or function or a structure or whatever. Okay, so there is one more important thing that I would like you guys to know, that whenever you are going to name any identifier, it will be much better to keep the name short but precise. Precise means, let's say you are going to count how many balls are there. So let's say you are going to declare a variable for keeping the number of counts. So it will be much better to name that variable count. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that whenever you are going to name any entity, you should name those entities depending upon what their use case is, or depending upon how you are going to use those entities. So that's how you should name them. Okay, we're going to understand what I'm trying to say once we are going to do once we are going to learn about variables functions, because at that point of time I'm going to name those variables. Then you will be able to understand it clearly, that the naming should be done depending upon the use case of entities. Okay. Okay, so thank you everyone. This is for this video. I'm hoping you are able to understand what I have told you guys. Just keep these three rules in your mind whenever you are naming any identifier. Thank you.